Around the World with Santa Claus. Read from 5-Minute Holiday Classics. Let's see if we can do it without messing up. Cross your fingers. By Santa Claus, two little folks, we, Fred and Sister Flo, have been invited on a trip around the world to go. A trip on which they'll have a chance not often given to seeing all the countries they've read about in their geography. You see them here about to start in Santa's famous sleigh. His reindeer team is ready to bear them swift away. And with them they are taking an abundant stock of toys to fill the Christmas stockings of delighted girls and boys. Though we may travel well enough on dry land with a team, when we wish to cross the ocean, we have to take to steam. Old Santa much enjoys the trip and says there's nothing finer than to sniff the breeze upon the deck of a crack Atlantic liner. The voyage o'er without mishap, we land on Britain's Isle and take a cab on top of which our trunks and traps we pile. The jolly street boys Santa spy and give him lots of chaff, but at that game he's quite their match, and on them turns the laugh. For those who love good feeding, here's a sight that's very jolly. Plum pudding most delicious, and boar's head decked with holly. Of old in merry England they were born on Christmas Day, unto the castle table in this steady pompous way. The guests no doubt delayed not to clear them from the plate, for good things tasted then as well as at the present date. In the frosty land of Norway, folks fasten to their feet long wooden skates called skis, with which they travel very fleet. So Santa and his party put on a pair of these, and down the icy hillsides dart through the wintry breeze. To the ever-frozen regions of the northern frigid zone, to the home of the seal and walrus and the Eskimo we've flown. But though this chilly atmosphere may suit the polar bear, we think that for our own part we prefer a milder air. So not very much extended will be our visit here, and we soon shall take departure for a climate not so drear. A scene this is in Germany. Upon the left appears Rupert, a grim fiend who every youngster fears. Beside him is the Christ-child, arrayed in garments white, while St. Peter with his keys in hand stands forth upon the right. In the center is St. Nicholas, the bishop kind and good, who's the friend of all young people who've behaved just as they should. To every house the party comes on Christmas Eve to hear how all the little boys and girls have acted through the year. For those who've not been naughty, nor parents' cause to grieve, upon the lighted Christmas tree they pretty presents leave. But those of whose behavior they get a bad report received a gift from Rupert not of a pleasant sort. On Christmas Eve in Holland, through the queer old peak-roofed towns, St. Nicholas the kind-hearted on a donkey goes his rounds, with nice presents in his basket for each obedient child, and nothing for the naughty ones who have been bad and wild. A new brother or new sister the children there are taught. By the stork, a funny long-legged bird has to the house been brought, and of course it always causes a more intense delight if the stork ship brings the stranger as a gift on Christmas night. This tableau forms in Italy's clime, a favorite pageant at Christmas time. The crib is shown of the Holy Child, with his mother, Mary, and Joseph mild. Shepherds adore, and angels above chant their message of peace and love, while Bethlehem's star sends down its ray to guide the wise men on their way. O'er the lonely sterile wastes of Arabia's desert land, no beasts except the camels can travel through the sand. So Santa Claus upon their backs bestows his precious freight, then climbs aloft himself and rides along in solemn state. To have it warm at Christmas to us seems very peculiar, but in Australian lands that is the warmest time of year. Santa can't get reindeer here, so the only thing to do is to travel round upon the back of a bounding kangaroo. And in the USA, canoeing is exciting when the stream is wild and rough, and Santa looks as if he thought he'd had about enough. He wears, you see, an aspect of great comfort and relief when he seats himself to smoke a pipe with the friendly Indian chief. We are now in California and pause to have a sight of the trees that are so famous for their monstrous girth and height. And as we pass in grand procession, our pets may be inspected. A very happy family indeed we have collected. They behave toward each other in a style polite and pleasing, that is, except the parrots, who are quite too fond of teasing. At last the journey's finished, its excitements all are o'er. Strange sights and foreign wonders have been gazed at by the score. The world has been inspected north and south and west and east, and our travelers now celebrate their doings with a feast. At a table spread with eatables and drinkables the best, they are seated with good Santa as the most exalted guest. And as the gay proceedings are approaching to a close, this toast young Master Frederick arises to propose. Here's a health to Santa Claus, the friend of girls and boys. May his heart be ever full of mirth, and his pack be full of toys. The end for now.